Hey guys, you know, one of the great things that I love about my job and people who get to know me is they invite me down to really interesting places. And right now I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and I've actually been invited to this incredible testing facility for all old electronics. And you can see behind me, it just goes on for as far as you can see. There are rows and rows of old school technology in these buildings going as far back as the 50s and 60s. And while I was actually going around and looking at what was available here, it struck me that some of the incredible test equipment that you see around here, and as I was actually searching through it, I realized that there has been a complete kind of fundamental change of how equipment was made, from standalone equipment to modularized pieces to what we find now, which is really software based. You know, computers can pretty much do everything. But there was one piece that really caught my eye, and the reason was kind of surprising. Let me show it to you, and I'll explain to you why this piece really kind of became my focus on this trip. As you can see, there's lots of stuff here. Just look at all these cases. I mean, you know, you're talking about major history here, from leather cases that would just store lots of electronic stuff to be moved, all the way across here to, we've got some metal cases, which became the standard as aluminium was much stronger than leather to protect it. And then over here, we start looking at some of the hard plastic cases. And I mean, these guys use this to when they transport equipment around. This is what they go to. So it's pretty amazing stuff. Just the history on cases by itself. Here's some attaché cases and some NEC. This piece was an arc fusion splicer. It sounds like something out of a science fiction film. I'd love to know what that was all about. But let me show you this find that really caught my eye. Right over here. This wooden box here is something that I just was completely blown away by. Let me grab it and show you what this is. Alright, so this is it. First things first, out of all the boxes that I saw, this was the only one that was actually made out of wood. It looks like a kind of a mahogany. And I grabbed it, and it was a pretty heavy piece. One of the things that's really kind of interesting here is that it says that this piece of equipment was the property of the Commonwealth of Australia, Department of Supply. What could it be? And then it shows you right here, that's a radiometer indicator unit. So radiometers are used to usually detect light and infrared light as well. I haven't seen a unit like this before, but let's not that stop us. It was actually made by EGG Incorporated. I did a few searches on the internet, but this is what blew me away more than anything else. These wonderful kind of little tabs, these little wooden tabs here. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy that I'm getting excited about a wooden box, right? But this is so beautiful. You have your test cable that would go into your sensor that actually just sits right here. And then on the other side, and it locks in. I thought there was a magnet or something. It's actually a friction lock. It's kind of interesting because there is a piece of metal here that is just to reinforce the hardwood, but there is no magnet. And it just sits beautifully like that. And on the other side, you have your power cable. So you have really a beautiful system to keep all your equipment together in this kind of case that would not look out of place on the mantle in someone's home, as they say in the castle. You know, that definitely ends up in the pool room. It's also interesting here that this is actually your output, so you can actually change your voltage output if you need be. That's kind of a really cool thing. Let's take a look at the actual piece of equipment itself. Unlatch it, and you have your meter. The sun's actually, don't know if you guys can see that, but you've actually got a old school kind of needle indicator, and then you have a whole bunch of really interesting, again, I'm a sucker for these kind of old pieces of equipment. You have these beautiful kind of knobs that changes your multiplier. You can, whether you're actually charging the unit or you want direct current, whether you want to hold it, integrate it, or reset the settings. But up here it actually also says you can charge the unit, so there must be some batteries involved. Turn the unit off till it's aligned, or again use the battery power. So it's a really interesting piece. I mean, I would love to know what the actual sensor is, and I've got a feeling that if we wanted to pull this apart, we'd have to actually, I'm going to do that. Don't tell the people that are letting me to visit, but let's pull this apart and see what's underneath here, because this is obviously the way this instrument is actually packed. There's no other area in this box that allows you to get into it. So I have a feeling that in this simplicity of design and the need to be able to, I've got a feeling we could probably open that up quite easily to get to the batteries and see what else is there. Let's do it. I love my leather. You always have it in your pocket before you go screwdriver. I'm going to be able to do this one-handed. Let's see. Well, that's it. Okay, that's it. That's all 4 screws that came out really simple and easy. I'm using one hand because I'm using to hold the camera as well. So I'm going to try and see if I can lift it up one-handed. Oh, it's coming. See. Yep, there it is. It's coming out. If I had my other hand free, it would pop straight out. You can feel it's just fitted beautifully into this case. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, look at that. Comes straight out, and look at how the unit's actually made. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. This is, and you can actually see where the cables actually come into these, look at this brass work. Again, there's your power cable in this unit part here. You've got your test unit cable that sits here. What's this say? New batteries fitted. What's that say? The first 1985. There you go. Let's see if I can get that on camera. There you go. Fitted in the first 1985. Black lead, number goes straight to number 11. And up here, this would be a rechargeable battery in 1985, a high level recharge battery. And actually, if I can, yeah, so that's a cell right there that popped out. This whole thing would actually just come straight out. There it is. So there's a whole lot of electrical tape. You buy basically these guys, which are cell batteries. You tape them up. I don't know if the camera will get this, but do you see there's a lead right in there? Let me see if I can focus in on that. Right in there. So what you would do is you would splice, or you would solder these together to make whatever power pack you'd need. Tape them all up, and then put them straight back into the holder. So you had an incredible diagnostic machine that would allow you to be able to do it. And what I love about this is nothing digital in this. This is the transformer, which would also allow it to work and charge the battery. And you have on the other side, you've got some fuses. We saw that before. This allows you to change the amperage and the power that you need. But this, I mean, you know, I would love to dig into the history of this machine. This looks like spaghetti, but it's absolutely beautiful. Look at these resistors and capacitors. And you have these things. I've never seen these things before, but they're glass. And then you've got your selector. So that's this thing here. It's just in here. And again, you can see how it's all put together. You're not talking, this is obviously a PCB board, but the rest of everything else is, I mean, these are the old school. This is a toggle switch on this side. You know, the insides of this is almost as interesting as the case itself. But yeah, this is just incredibly put together. The old school. Let's see if I can try and show you guys without making you too seasick. You know, the idea that as you would toggle this switch, it would connect these two plates together. You would have a number of these there that would actually bridge to allow you different functionality. Wow. You know, this is the sort of stuff that we kind of take for granted. And again, look at all the cabling, beautifully put together. I bet you anything that if we plug this in, it would work. Probably better to change the batteries first. But what a beautiful piece of test equipment that's sitting here literally in the dust. Not that anyone really has need for a radiometric indicator unit such as this, but I am really fascinated by it. And again, what caught me was its presentation, the way it actually was put together. I'm actually not going to put it together this way. I'm going to have to feed those cables in and out so that I can make sure that they don't get cut off by the brass pieces. You can see they're just sitting there in like coiled snakes. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put it back together. And again, I'm going to show you the rest of this case, because this is the sort of thing in my workshop I'm looking forward to building skills, my woodworking skills, so that I can actually have this level of casing for some of the equipment that I build. I mean, it's just beautiful, just beautiful. Look at this detector cable, you know. Actually, let's see if I can feed that through right away. Open that up. All I need to really do is push that cable through. And do the same thing over here. Make sure that it all comes out. I mean, this is the sort of test equipment that I was seeing at NASA. This is the sort of stuff that ran the space shuttle, literally. That's one of the reasons why they had to stop using the shuttle, because the actual equipment to keep it going was just out of date. They couldn't get any more specialized parts. All right, let me put this together and I will show you what this all looks like. 4 screws. Oh, just before I do that, check this out. I love how they have inserts, threaded inserts in here. That's why it was so easy to get those screws out. So we definitely know this machine is definitely like 1983 was the last time they put batteries in it. Was it 85? No, 85. So 80, 90. So we're talking like 25, 30 years old. And I bet you the machine was older than that. And it's beautiful. So here's the piece all screwed together. I've been able to put all those screws back quite easily. You can see it was definitely a very easy piece of equipment to check, test. You know, it's kind of beautiful. I've got to put those cables back in, but I'll do that in a second. Both those cables out. This is a really nice piece of history. Really nice. I wonder what type of sensor a radiometric indicator unit does, or radiometer indicator unit uses, because I would love to be able to test this. Go out and get some readings on it. Definitely a piece from another era. You can definitely see that as well from the case itself. You know, what the case originally was what caught my eye, but then to actually open it up and see exactly what's inside, it's just phenomenal. You know, this piece I would see could sit definitely on the mantle somewhere. It's beautiful, and there's some inspiration to actually build some beautiful cases for the equipment that I have in my own space, because that is just, it's incredible. Anyway, this is a piece that I just wanted to share with you guys, get some maker inspiration. You know, it's kind of nice to understand what it can do and also see the craft work that went into not just the case, but also the The equipment itself, that was not made by a machine. That would have had to be, each one of these would have had to be handmade. There's no way you'd be able to get all those components in. And definitely in the 50s and 60s, there was not any CNC or robotic equipment that could have done that. Guys, if you like this video and you like to find out kind of cool stuff like this, feel free to quickly hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss out on anything like that. If you happen to know what type of sensor would go onto an indicator light unit like this, please let me know, and I will bring you more of this kind of cool stuff as I experience it myself.